You know, sometimes it's the tiniest moments, the ones that seem insignificant, that mark the collapse of your entire world. For me, it was the moment I was lying beneath the kitchen sink, surrounded by tools, sawdust, and copper pipes, one hand wrapped around a cold wrench. Above me was the bottom of the brand new cabinet I just installed. Around me, the sound of wind, rain, and two women who didn't know I was right beneath their feet. My wife, Catherine, and her sister, Helen. "Have you told him you're moving out next month?" I froze, like someone had just dumped a bucket of ice water down my spine. My heartbeat pounded in my ears like a war drum. "Not a chance," Catherine laughed, sweet as honey, sharp as glass. "I need to make sure the promotion goes through first. Once I get half the client list, I'm out. Timing is everything." I lay there, paralyzed, not from fear, but from the fury tightening every single muscle in my body. She had no idea I could hear her. They talked like I was some background noise, some clueless handyman too busy playing with wrenches to notice the wrecking ball heading straight for his life. "He doesn't even know I've got a separate bank account," Catherine said with a chuckle. "He's too busy screwing cabinets into place." Their laughter echoed, colder than the wind howling through the cracked patio door. After they left the house, I crawled out from under the counter like a shipwrecked man washing up on shore. My heart still racing, like it was trying to outrun the truth. We had talked about kids. I'd saved up $15,000 in a separate account for fertility treatment because Catherine has PCOS. A child. My dream. One I thought was hers too. Turns out, she always knew it never was. But I didn't confront her. I didn't rage. I didn't walk out. I got back to work. I poured every ounce of anger into every cut I made, every tile I laid, every single nail I drove into the walls of the home I thought we were building together. I was going to finish that kitchen, exactly the way she dreamed it. But I was also building something else, a takedown plan. She thought I was weak. She thought I'd fall apart. What she didn't know is that I'm a builder. I know how to create things from scratch, and I know how to take them apart from the inside out. That evening, Catherine came home. The moment she stepped through the door, she lit up with a smile so wide, you'd think she just won the lottery. "Oh my God, it's even more beautiful than I imagined. My husband's a genius. We should just order takeout. I can't bring myself to cook in this masterpiece." I nodded, smiled, placed my hand gently on her lower back as she sank into the couch. Every move I made was perfect. Picture perfect husband. The fool who didn't know a thing. The evening played out like always. Dinner, Netflix, small talk, and then she made the first move. Reached for me. I felt nothing. No love, no hate, not even desire. Just disgust. I was lying next to someone who had carefully planned to throw me away, like old paint peeling off a wall. 3:12 a.m. Catherine was fast asleep, her breathing soft beside me. I slid quietly out of bed, opened her laptop. She never changed her password, a habit I once saw as trust. Now, just a crack in the armor. I found a few financial documents, personal accounts she never told me about. Withdrawals from our joint account, not large, just a few $100 at a time, but consistent, month after month. The total? Over 5 grand. Gone. Quietly siphoned from the future I thought we were building. I took screenshots of every page, saved them, emailed them to a private account I'd created that afternoon. The next morning she left early, said she had a big meeting. I stayed home, said I wasn't feeling well. For the first time, I quit my job. Not because I was burnt out, but because I needed to focus. Not on myself, not on rest, but on escape. I called Anthony, my best friend, the only person I truly trusted. I told him everything. He was silent for a long moment, then finally said, "We're going to handle this. Carefully, strategically. She won't see it coming. Not until it's too late." We made a list. Open a new personal bank account. Redirect direct deposit. Take inventory of every shared asset. What was bought, when, and how much it's worth. Consult a lawyer. Leave no sign of suspicion. Keep renovating the kitchen. Make it flawless. Because you know what? That kitchen, it would be the last thing I ever gave Catherine. A parting gift. Beautiful. And the burial ground for her betrayal. Catherine never suspected a thing. She went to work like normal. She kept texting me, sweeter than usual. That kitchen floor looks amazing. I'm so lucky. You're the most incredible man I know. I smiled, sent back a single heart emoji, while my other hand was backing up every piece of financial evidence onto a USB drive hidden in my toolbox. Day 2 of the plan, I finished the backsplash. Herringbone tile. Catherine's favorite. Complicated, time-consuming, and delicate. She'd show it off to her friends, use it to mark her new beginning. Me, I was writing the final chapter. That night, Catherine came home late. She walked in with sushi and a bottle of white wine. Her eyes lit up as she spoke. I might get the promotion earlier than expected. My boss said I'm the top candidate. I nodded, raised my glass, and said, "That's amazing. You deserve it." She smiled, like she hadn't been stabbing me in the back the entire time. Anthony and I had a name for this part of the process. Operation GTFO. The escape phase. Next step, inventory. I moved quietly through the house, snapping photos. Every piece of electronics, kitchen appliances, the heirloom jewelry from my grandmother, the ones Catherine wore like it was hers, and then a notebook I found wedged behind the fridge. Must have slipped back there when I tore the old cabinets out. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I don't feel guilty either. It was her journal. Entries dated just 2 months ago. I know I need to leave. Ryan gets me more than he ever will, but if I walk now, I lose everything. Better to wait till the kitchen's done. The house will be worth more. Ryan, she didn't say much more, but she didn't need to. It was clear. Catherine wasn't just betraying our future, she may have already betrayed our marriage. That night, she came home smelling like a stranger. Unfamiliar perfume, heavy makeup still clinging to her smile. She wrapped her arms around me from behind and whispered, "Honey, this kitchen is a dream." I smiled, kissed her on the cheek. Right there, in the very place she planned to betray me. I had finished almost the entire kitchen. Herringbone tile backsplash, done. Under cabinet LED lights, cleanly installed. White painted cabinets, glossy enough to reflect a face that no longer looked naive. Catherine went to work. And me, I wasn't just remodeling a kitchen anymore. I was dismantling a marriage. I went to the bank, closed our joint credit card account, opened a new one under my name only, transferred exactly 50% of our shared savings, no more, no less, called the fertility clinic, and pulled the entire $15,000 I had saved. I didn't take a penny more. This wasn't about revenge, but I also wasn't going to be drained dry like some fool. Back at the house, I packed the only things that truly mattered to me. My grandmother's jewelry, a few old books, childhood photo albums. I packed them gently, drove straight to my parents' house. Catherine wouldn't notice they were gone, at least not yet. And then, I opened the cabinet beneath the kitchen sink, the place where it all began. The same spot I was lying under when I heard the first line in this twisted little play. I pulled out a clear Ziploc bag I had hidden. Inside were a copy of the lease Catherine had secretly signed for a new apartment, screenshots of her transfers from our joint account, torn out pages from her old journal, the ones where she wrote about Ryan and how she was waiting until the new kitchen's finished, and most importantly, a handwritten transcript of the exact words Catherine said that day. Not for legal use, just so that when she finds it, she'll know. I heard you. I know everything. And I still stayed to finish this the right way. I tucked the bag deep into the hidden gap behind the cabinet board, sealed it back in place, quiet as a whisper. Catherine will never know it's there, but she'll always wonder, every time she does the dishes, every time she bends down to reach for a pot, every single time she cooks in the kitchen, she thought she used to outsmart me. That night, Catherine came home glowing. She ran her fingers along the countertop like it was made of gold. "Oh my God," she whispered, eyes wide with admiration. "This is a dream kitchen. You're amazing. I want to throw a party tomorrow night. Show my friends how lucky I am." I poured her a glass of wine and smiled like I didn't know who Ryan was. "Of course, babe," I said gently. "I'll take care of everything." Saturday night, the kitchen lights sparkled like a showroom. Her expensive perfume floated through the air like a false promise. Catherine came downstairs in a silk dress, her makeup flawless, not a single thing out of place. Tonight is going to be perfect, she said. Everyone is going to be so jealous of our brand new kitchen. I adjusted my collar, nodded. Of course, babe. It's going to be unforgettable. 6 guests arrived, just like the list she'd written. Helen was the first through the door. She hugged me, a little too long, a little too tight, like pity in disguise. I smiled back, as if I didn't know anything. The party began. I stood by the grill, poured drinks, played the part. I smiled at the right times, nodded at the perfect beats. My performance was flawless, not a single crack. When the main course hit the table, the conversation shifted to the future. One couple started talking about trying for a baby, and Catherine, of course she jumped in. We're right there too, she said with that honey-sweet voice. We've actually already started planning. She turned to me, lacing her fingers through mine in front of everyone. My husband is amazing. He even finished this whole kitchen so we could start the next chapter together. I nearly choked on my beer, not from shock, but from sheer awe at the audacity. Helen's eyes met mine from across the table. That uneasy look, like standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing damn well you're about to fall. After dinner, Catherine uncorked another bottle of wine. Every word out of her mouth painted me like some divine gift from above. The dream husband, the guy who built a kitchen out of pure love. I just kept smiling. Yeah, I said softly. You're really lucky. That night, Catherine had one too many glasses. She curled up against me as we walked our friends out, whispering in my ear, my sweet husband, tonight I want to thank you. Really thank you. She tugged me into the kitchen. Lingerie I'd never seen before. Silk, lace, perfectly staged. We should baptize the new kitchen, she giggled. Right here, where you made magic happen. I nodded, played along. Every touch was a farewell. Every kiss, a nail sealing the coffin of this marriage. Later that night, after Catherine had drifted off to sleep, I walked into the office, opened the monitoring app I'd installed on her computer, and there it was, a new message sent just minutes before. The kitchen looks amazing. I almost feel bad about leaving, but not really. From Catherine to Helen. I closed the laptop. My eyes drifted to the sleek reflection on the glossy backsplash. She thought she was winning. She thought she was in control of everything. She had no idea that tomorrow, she'd be the one getting left behind. Sunday. The rain hit hard. It slammed against the kitchen window like even the sky knew a storm was about to break. Not outside, but right here, inside this house. I got up early, not from worry, but with the cold calm of someone ready to tear down walls. I brewed a pot of coffee, set the mug down on the kitchen island, sat there quietly, taking in the space I had built with sweat, skill, and heartbreak. Catherine came down around 9 a.m., wearing my oversized button-up like everything was still perfectly intact. My parents are coming over today, she chirped, running a hand through her hair. I really want to impress them with the new kitchen. I nodded, smiled, sipped my coffee, all while my phone, propped up just right on the counter, recorded everything. Not for revenge, not for exposure, just for me, to remember that I was there, awake, aware, and choosing to walk away. 12:15 p.m., the doorbell rang. Catherine's mom, Diane, beamed as she stepped inside, bouquet in hand. Her father, Tom, scanned the kitchen, eyes wide with admiration. Would you look at this? My son-in-law's got some serious skills. That wall, fresh paint, looks fantastic. Catherine led them around like a proud museum guide, rambling about tile choices, under-cabinet lighting, backsplash design, how we picked every detail together. I stood behind her silent, not out of shyness, but because I knew every single lie she told was about to turn around and bite her. We sat down at the table. Lasagna, homemade by Catherine. She glowed, launching into a monologue about her promotion. Her dad raised a glass to toast her. I raised mine too, took a slow sip. Then, I set the glass down. Carefully, calmly, like everything was still perfectly fine. I've got something I'd like to share, I said, voice steady. Something interesting I came across while redoing the kitchen. Catherine turned toward me, her smile flickered. Oh, what's that, babe? I pulled out my phone, tapped play. Have you told him you're moving out next month? No way, I need to lock in the promotion first. Then I'll take half the account. He has no idea. He's too busy playing with his damn wrenches. Cold laughter. Catherine. Helen. The room fell into a silence so thick you could choke on it. All that remained was the sound of rain tapping against the window. Catherine sat frozen, face pale as plaster. Her parents, forks midair, stared speechless. It was her mother who finally broke the silence, voice trembling. Catherine, was that you? Is this true, sweetheart? She opened her mouth to deny it, but I cut in. I didn't record you. I was under the sink that day. I heard everything. Her father, the man who had always defended her, always believed her, slowly took off his glasses. His words came out quiet, heavy. You plan to leave your husband right after your promotion? And you were going to take half the assets? After 7 years together? Catherine started crying, not from guilt, from fear, fear of being exposed. It's not what it sounds like. He neglected me. He's not the man he used to be. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Instead, I pulled out a folder from the drawer and laid it on the table. Inside, a copy of the lease agreement she signed for her new apartment, bank statements showing the steady withdrawals from our joint account, messages to Helen about the dream kitchen and their little timeline, and messages with Ryan, the coworker she hadn't quite called a boyfriend yet, but was getting there. Catherine's father stood, not in anger, but in the kind of silent disappointment that makes the air heavy. Tom, let's go, her mother whispered, voice cracking. But before leaving, she turned back and hugged me. A quiet, heartfelt hug, the kind that says, I'm sorry you had to be the one to discover the truth. Thank you, her mother had whispered before leaving, for not breaking her, even though she broke everything. The door closed, and Catherine, shattered. She screamed, sobbed, threw a plate that exploded across the kitchen floor. You ruined me. You destroyed me in front of my parents. I stood still, calm, then slowly pulled out the final envelope, the one she never saw coming. No, Catherine, you did that. You just never thought I'd be the one to notice. She stopped crying, started yelling, threw a glass across the counter, screamed obscenities, 1 second apologizing, the next blaming, a performance with no audience left. I watched her, like a stranger. No more rage, no more heartbreak, just a cold, cutting clarity I had finished building. And now I was dismantling. I handed her the final folder. Here's a copy of the lease agreement you signed, all the withdrawals from the joint account, and your messages with your coworker, Ryan. The originals are with my attorney. She panicked, bolted to the office, opened her laptop, logged into the account. When she saw half the money was gone, my half down to the last penny, she collapsed into the chair. You can't do this to me. You destroyed everything. I didn't respond. I zipped my last suitcase, packed with clothes, my laptop, a few old books, and the small heirlooms my grandmother left me. Where are you going? What are you going to tell everyone? Do you, still love me? I turned back, looked her dead in the eye, the woman I once thought I'd build a family with. I'm not going to lie, but I don't need to make you look bad either. And love? I think you left before I had the chance to realize it was gone. Right before I walked out, I paused just for a second at the kitchen. I'm leaving you something. Not the kitchen, not the house, a question. There's something hidden inside the wall beneath the sink. A message, right where I was lying when I heard you and Helen talk about me like I was an idiot. I looked at her, no threats, no warnings, just the truth. The one thing she thought she had control over. You'll always wonder what's in there, and you'll never have the courage to tear it open and find out. I drove straight to Anthony's place. He was already waiting on the porch, 2 cold beers in hand. No sympathy, no hugs, just a quiet understanding between 2 men who've seen the fire and walked through it. It's done, he asked. Yeah, I said, and for the first time in weeks, I could actually breathe. Catherine called, texted, emailed. Helen called too. So did her mom. I didn't respond. I just forwarded everything to my lawyer. Monday morning, I officially filed for divorce. That same afternoon, Catherine got the promotion. She won at work, but lost everything she ever built with me. 3 weeks later, I moved into a small apartment near my job. I unpacked, bought a new table, hung an old painting I'd once shoved into the back of the garage. Starting over, no renovations this time, just living honestly. I live alone, not lonely, just independent for the first time in years. I wake up early, make my own coffee, cook my own breakfast. Sometimes I walk to the bakery down the street and chat with the owner, an old man with a raspy voice and a strangely comforting laugh. I planted a few house plants. Catherine used to say they made the place messy, but now they make it feel alive. I started taking cooking classes. Saturday mornings. The instructor's a widow with a soft smile and eyes that have seen life. She told me once, there's no dish that tastes good when it's cooked in anger. Only the ones made with forgiveness actually lighten the soul. I thought about that the entire night. My new kitchen is small, no herringbone tile, no under cabinet lights, no wine rack, but every inch of it I built for me, and this time not for anyone else. I never heard from Catherine again. My attorney handled the rest. The old house went up for sale. I drove past it once. There was a sold sign out front. I didn't feel sad. It was just a project, finished, and then dismantled. Friends slowly came back into my life. Jake, Mark, the ones Catherine had once labeled unfit for our mature married image. We meet for beers every weekend now. Every so often, I'll tell a story from the past, but I never talk about her because I left that part of my life in the walls of an old kitchen. One day I got a friend request on Instagram, named Catherine. I declined. 10 minutes later, a message came in from an unknown number. I miss you. I'm sorry I've changed. I didn't respond, not out of anger, but because I didn't need to anymore. That night I sat alone in my kitchen, warm yellow lights above, an old jazz playlist playing softly in the background. I poured myself a glass of wine, not to celebrate, not to forget, but to acknowledge that I had made it through, from the husband who was betrayed to the man who had the courage to stop, dismantle, and rebuild. I used to build homes for other people. Now I've built one for myself. No more walls hiding secrets, no more recordings, no more pretending. Just me and a foundation I rebuilt within the walls of my own heart. If you've stayed with me this far, thank you for walking this road with me. This wasn't just a story about betrayal. It was about self-respect, awakening, and the ability to rebuild yourself from the ashes of everything you once believed in. If this story touched something in you, please share it with someone who might be searching for their own way out. And don't forget to subscribe, because somewhere out there, someone needs to hear that. You have the right to walk away from anything that makes you feel small. Thanks for listening to my story.